You won't believe it. Think China always wins? Think again. For the next 10 minutes, we're diving into something huge. Something the mainstream news barely scratches the surface of. Tensions are rising in the South China Sea, big ships facing off, like a giant staring down a much smaller opponent. It's easy to look at China's military and economy and assume they have this in the bag. But what if I told you there are 10 massive reasons why that might not be the case? Ships, planes, strategy, spirit, secrets. The stakes are unbelievably high. So before we jump into our countdown, drop your guess in the comments. What is the single most powerful advantage the Philippines has? Lock it in now. Kicking off our countdown at number 10, international support for the Philippines. The United States and the Philippines have a mutual defense treaty. If the Philippines is attacked, the US could be drawn in. Japan and Australia are backing the Philippines with patrol vessels, intelligence sharing and joint drills, a real force multiplier. Coming in at number 9, geography. The Philippines is an archipelago of over 7,000 islands, a natural fortress. Straits and choke points like the Luzon Strait make it a logistical nightmare for an attacker. Island-based radar, missile batteries and drones can turn the sea into a maze, denying freedom of movement to bigger fleets. Smaller, faster patrol craft can hide among islands and ambush larger warships, neutralizing size advantage. At number 8, the unbreakable Filipino spirit, a history of resistance and community solidarity. From fishermen braving disputed waters to the Bayanihan spirit, civilians would participate in a whole-of-nation defense. The global Filipino diaspora and social media mobilization amplify resistance and international sympathy. Occupying a united 110 million-strong populace would be prohibitively costly. Morale and resilience matter. Powerful friends, defensive geography, and an unbreakable spirit. That's 10 through 8. Now let's climb into the top 7, starting with legal wins and hardware upgrades. Coming in at number 7, victory in the court of law. In 2016, The Hague ruled China's 9-dash line has no legal basis, a landmark win for the Philippines. That ruling gives the Philippines moral and legal high ground, galvanizing allies and justifying freedom of navigation operations. At number 6, a military getting a huge upgrade. New frigates from South Korea and Fa-50 jets bring modern capability back to the Philippines. Coastal defense systems like BrahMos missiles can turn islands into lethal launch pads, a real game changer. The US, South Korea, Israel and Japan are supplying equipment, training and intelligence to accelerate modernization. Cracking the top 5 at number 5, the economic hammer, sanctions. China's rise depends on global trade and finance. Coordinated sanctions could cripple supply chains and markets. Freezing state assets, cutting payment networks, and restricting semiconductors would be devastating. The threat of economic isolation is a powerful deterrent. Beijing must weigh islands versus decades of economic progress. Legal power, serious hardware upgrades, and economic leverage, 3 huge reasons. Up next, the neighborhood and asymmetric tactics. At number 4, the power of the neighborhood. ASEAN neighbors share concerns over assertiveness. Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and others are stepping up patrols. Beyond ASEAN, India, Australia, and Japan are tilting toward deeper cooperation, creating a multi-front strategic problem for China. Intelligence sharing, access to ports and airbases, and more patrols multiply pressure on any aggressor. A neighborhood rallying together turns one-on-one into a regional quagmire. Now at number 3, asymmetric warfare. Small, smart, and lethal. Small, fast attack craft, sea mines, and drones can convert geography into a deadly advantage. Fishermen and local sailors know every cove and reef. That local knowledge is invaluable for ambushes and supply line disruption. Harassment, sabotage, and attrition can bleed a larger force dry. Low-cost hits add up fast, refuse to fight on their terms, and Goliath starts to hate the fight. Our runner-up, number 2, the war for hearts and minds. Viral images, like Coast Guard water cannons against small supply boats, frame China as the bully and the Philippines as the sympathetic underdog. A free press, English-language media, and a large diaspora make the Philippines' story easy to tell globally, pressuring democracies to act. China's state-controlled narrative struggles against viral civilian images. Public opinion spurs sanctions, aid, and military support. And here it is, the number 1 reason China could lose in a clash with the Philippines. The South China Sea is one of the planet's most biodiverse marine ecosystems, and a full-blown conflict would be an ecological catastrophe. Sunken warships, oil slicks, exploded munitions, and dead reefs would threaten global fish stocks and livelihoods for decades. Attacks would create mass displacement, refugee flows, and shattered coastal communities broadcast worldwide. Environmental and humanitarian disaster would spur NGOs, scientists, and governments to act, a cause even skeptics find hard to resist. Navies could be sent not to pick sides, but to prevent ecological collapse. A universal red line that could unite the world against aggression. Territorial claims versus preventing oil spills and refugee crises, the latter is far more likely to trigger global intervention. Environmental and humanitarian catastrophe is the ultimate checkmate, a red line China would struggle to cross without losing on the world stage. There you have it, 10 massive reasons why China might not win against the Philippines, from alliances and geography to strategy, law, spirit, and the ultimate environmental red line. What did we miss? Drop your reasons in the comments, I read them. Lock in your guess if you didn't already. If you like this, subscribe. Next up, top 10 reasons the Philippines could win. Hit the bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next deep dive.